mission. I was brought to this world to preach to every kindred of His mercy and love. In every kindness I show, in everything that I do, I've been chosen by my God to testify. A woman of God, I'm His masterpiece, chosen, loved, and redeemed by His love. A new life I was given to serve. I accept your call. Here I am, my Lord. Wherever I go, I will tell, and forever will I shout and sing. Lord, I will go. About His redemptive love, sharing God's love and mercy, forgiveness and joy. I will not be afraid. God is walking by my side. I will go forward with His path. The ending is near. I will man of God, His masterpiece, chosen, love, and redeemed by His love. A new life I was given to serve. I accept your call. Here I am, my Lord. Wherever I go, I will tell, and forever will I shout and sing. Lord, I will go. Chosen, loved, and redeemed by His love. A new life I was given to serve. I accept your call. Here I am, my Lord. Wherever I go, I will tell. Chosen, loved, and redeemed by His love. And forever will I shout and sing. Lord, I will go.
Good night to everyone. Want to welcome all of you out there, our visitors, those on YouTube, those of you here on Zoom, members of our district. I want to welcome you to the first TNT for the year 2021, and it's a special edition. It's the Women's Edition. That means that we will be covering information that pertains to us as women. That does not mean that we don't want the men to be a part of it, because they can come along too, because I'm sure they can hear some things that they need to know. But for now, it's focusing on women's issues. So we want to thank you again for being here tonight, and I trust that you are blessed. Before we go any further, I will ask Sister Dolores Clinton to offer a word of prayer.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, I want to thank you for this opportunity whereby all of us can take part in this discussion tonight. Be with the host and the presenter as they impart much needed information on the topic to be discussed. I ask that you will be with the technology and with the equipment, and that everything will go according to plan. This is my prayer for Christ's sake. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Sister Clinton. Now, tonight, our topic is coping with living alone. Now, many of us have always shared a home with someone else at some point in time. After all, we grew up with parents, or we had guardians, we had siblings, there was extended family in some instances. But then later on, some persons, as you grow older, some persons may have moved away to college or to university, and then you had roommates, or you created a household of your own where it is that you got married or you had children, and you created your own family. So you had persons living with you. But then at some point, living arrangements changed, where it may be your parents died, your spouse left, your children left, your studies finished, so you moved on, you had no more roommates, or your siblings moved away. Life became different, and you were left alone. I know that sometimes being alone may be hard for some persons. Presently, when I think about being alone, I am fine with it. I know I said presently. I don't know what my mindset may be as I get older, but presently, I don't have a problem with being alone. As long as I have a book, I am good. But that's me. However, it may be a challenge for others who cannot be alone, and they find that they don't like it. It affects them in many ways, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever way that it affects them. And so tonight, that is what we are going to look at. How do we cope with living alone? But first, I want to ask you a question. And I am going to give all of you, I know I said all of you, I am seeing at least 23 persons here in the chat. I'm giving you, all of you, a chance to put in the chat right now. What are you grateful for today? 3, 2, 1, go. What are you grateful for today? And I want to see some answers coming quickly. I am sure that persons are grateful for something. I don't think I have any dead people here. So yes, okay, good. I see one, the breath of God, family. Anybody else? That's only 2 I'm seeing. Nobody else is grateful for something today. Life, a job, friends, okay. Anybody else? What are you grateful for today? Not saying, okay, today was my toughest day for online school, so I'm glad it's over. Okay, well, you're thankful that school is over. That's fine. Just a reminder, it's coming tomorrow, but you'll have a better mindset for it. Grateful for peace. Okay, that's a good answer. Anybody else? What else? Nothing else? That is just a handful of persons. I need at least 5 more persons, just 5 other persons, and I'll go on. Just 5 other persons to tell me, what are you grateful for today? I just need 5 persons. Grateful for his grace. Okay, that's 1. 4 more. God's provision. All right, 3 more. Wow, I didn't think persons had to think so hard. For health and friends, job, friends and family, job. Okay, awesome. Thank you so very much. Thank you for your responses. Now, I know that everybody has something to be thankful for. The first thing is the fact that we are alive and well today. That's one thing to be grateful and thankful to God for. But moving on with our program, I want to introduce to you our presenter for tonight. Okay, I see another one. I'm grateful for social media and life. Okay, awesome. Social media. I didn't think anyone might be grateful for social media with so much fake news, but that's good because tonight social media in a way is helping us to get the message across. So tonight our presenter is Dr. Patricia Welch. Dr. Welch has worked in education for 35 plus years, and she is a guidance counselor at St. George Secondary School. She is a trained graduate teacher, having achieved a BA in English with history. She holds an advanced certificate in special needs education and certification in drug addiction counseling. In 2005, she received a distinction in the teaching of health and family life education at the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill, and a distinction in the Master of Science in Counseling at UWI Mona, Jamaica. Recently, she acquired her Doctor of Philosophy in Education with a concentration on educational psychology. Kudos to you, Dr. Welch. In addition to her work as a guidance counselor for the past 20 years, Dr. Welch has worked at Her Majesty's prisons, where she counseled male drug abusers and females who had committed murder. Her counseling experience includes work done with domestic abuse clients and adolescents. Dr. Welch was also contracted by UWI Mona as a therapy group facilitator and field placement supervisor, working with students completing their masters in counseling and supervise interns pursuing the BSc in social work and the MS in counseling psychology. She works as a part-time tutor at the Eardiston Teachers Training College. Dr. Welch has dedicated her talents, skills, and abilities in multiple departments within her church, the Eastland SDA Church. She also volunteers her time and professional services to her church members. She has 2 adult daughters and a family dog who keeps her energized spiritually, physically, and emotionally. She loves God sincerely and attributes everything that she is, has, and will become to his eternal grace and love for her. Additionally, Dr. Welch is a friend and business partner as she, Michelle Ward, Renee Springer, and myself, we operate under a brand called Time for Change with a tagline which says from concept to confidence, where we work mainly, but not limited to, female entrepreneurs in areas of business concepts, startups, mental health, mindset awareness, public speaking, communication, and looking your best in business. I can assure you that she is well equipped to speak to us tonight on the topic, coping with living alone. So we welcome you, Dr. Welch, to our Zoom and YouTube platform tonight, and we look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, you can put your questions in the Zoom chat. For those on YouTube, if you have any questions, you can also send your questions. They will be fed to us here via the Zoom platform, and these questions will be answered after Dr. Welch has given her presentation. Dr. Welch, over to you.
Thank you, Nicole. And I want to join my voice with yours, and welcoming everyone here this evening. We have an interesting topic, coping with living alone. It's a vast topic as well. So I'm going to condense my presentation as much as possible because the time allocated for us is an hour, and based on the time that I was told, we have less than that. But we will work with what we have. The presentation is not too long from my perspective, so that we can have time for discussion and for question. Note well, those who are gathered here, it is a time for discussion. So which means that it is a night of talk. Nicole, right? Right, this is a Thursday night talk, not a Thursday night presentation or lecture. It's a Thursday night talk. So I hope that the same way some responses were generated to you when you did the icebreaker, that warm-up session, that we will get some discussion and some interaction as well as we continue throughout the night. I already feel very comfortable from your introduction. So right now I'm a part of Central. All right. So I believe that I will be accepted as a member of the Central District because
Yes, you are.
we're all one family nevertheless.
That's right. So you're already accepted.
Right. Thank you very much. All right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen at this time for the presentation. Okay. Are you seeing that, Nicole?
Yes. Yes, we're seeing your screen. Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so as we said, the topic tonight is coping with living alone. They have 3 objectives that will guide our discussion or talk tonight. And those three objectives are, firstly, to gain an awareness of the various reasons that contribute to persons living alone. The second, to recognize that living alone can impact every aspect of life. And thirdly, to discuss strategies that can assist with overall health and well-being while living alone. Remember, I said that at the beginning, everything can be discussed within an hour. So what I have not shared from the slide or the presentation, I hope that those things and those aspects that are of interest to you will become, a part of the discussion as we go along. So I have a picture here on this screen, and I would like some responses. What comes to your mind when you see this picture? Now, Nicole, I can't see the chat. So if you write something in the chat, I want Nicole to share it with me. And
Okay.
or you can unmute your mic, your speaker, and you can talk to me.
Okay, Dr. Welch, we're not seeing if you can start your PowerPoint because we're not seeing. No, we're still at the beginning screen.
Oh, all right, let me see, because I was trying to minimize just now. Let me see. All right, let's go again.
Okay, you may need to. Okay.
Can you put it, can you go
Okay.
from here?
Yes, there you go.
You're seeing it now?
Okay, you can go ahead from the beginning, do it from the beginning or from the current slide if you.
You're from the beginning there?
No, from in slideshow where you are, you can do it from your current slide so that we can see it as the PowerPoint because we're not seeing it.
Oh.
Or you may need to stop sharing this screen and share the screen that is already in PowerPoint mode.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay. Okay, so we are seeing the screen now.
You're seeing it, and you're saying the one with the palm?
Yes, we're seeing Yes.
Okay. So there's where I want to start from. Sorry about that, everyone. So what comes to your mind when you see this picture?
Relaxation, Auntie Pat.
All right. Thank you, Patricia. Anyone else? Anyone else? You can write in the chat as well. Serenity. Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
How
Yeah.
beautiful is.
I heard a beautiful day, and someone else was saying something.
Very cool day.
A very cool day. Mm-hmm. All right.
Relaxation.
The what?
Relaxation, relaxing myself, just enjoying
Okay.
the scenery of the sea and the breeze and everything.
We have
All
some
right.
comments here in the chat. One person says peaceful, another one says picnic.
Mm-hmm.
Solitude.
Right.
Tranquil.
All right. Thank you. Let's go on to the next one.
Crowded.
A place I do not go.
Okay.
A busy day at a Bridgetown Street. Everybody's huddled together shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Confusion, someone says, and someone knows just where it is because they said Swan Street. Another
Yes.
response is hazardous.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. Now I show those pictures because I find that some of us, if not all of us, usually view life and view experiences differently. There are, I should say, there are no two persons in this world who are alike. You might have twins, you might have the fraternal ones or the identical ones, and there is always something that is different about these two individuals who are supposed to be so much alike. Hence, we as individuals, we as females, as ladies, as males who are here, I'm not going to leave you out, look and view things differently. The picture at the first picture that we had, people saw the serenity. Some persons actually put themselves in the picture where they considered it to be a picnic spot. Some persons saw, the being relaxed as well. So it is not only a picture that they view and what they see, but they put themselves into what the scenario or the picture that is there. The same thing here, whereas some person will see a shopping area, others saw confusion, busy. So there are different descriptions for what was seen. We'll continue. Now we're going to look at two definitions, one of coping and the other of being alone. Now, Friedenberg, Erica, to be precise, 2008, defines coping as a continuum that extends from the management of stress and adaptation to achieving success and flourishing in the pursuit of goals. Now, that seems a bit out there, academic, but basically what this is saying, what she is saying, that when we are coping is not just for a time or period, is not confined or restricted to the here and now. Coping is continuous. We are always faced with situations, we're always faced with issues, we're always faced with some matter or some concern. And more times than not, it is because of the stresses of life. Those stresses sometimes are because of our internal thoughts, our mind, how we interpret situations, or it can come from external sources. So both internal, based of how we address stress, are external as well. But she's saying that whatever the situation, that when we cope, we adapt, we adjust. And not only do we adapt or we adjust, but in the process of adapting and adjusting, because of this constant need for coping, then we will achieve our success, achieve our dreams, achieve our goals. And not only that, we flourish as well individually. So coping, and dare I say positive coping, because some people say you cope negatively as well. But when you cope positively, and when you cope in a productive manner, when you are proactive in your means of coping, you think ahead even before some things happen. Some people are able to put things in place so that when an event or a issue arise, then they already have resources to help them through the situation. So that is what we are looking at in terms of coping. So it is not confined to time and space, but it is continuous. You always have to be coping. And when we look at the word alone, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary 2020, these are online dictionaries, and the Cambridge 2021 sums it up by saying without other people. When you're alone, you're without other people. You're separated from others and you are isolated. So that is what alone or aloneness involves, being without other persons. Now, what are some of the reasons that I arrived at for living alone? Some that I was able to, discuss with persons, and even in terms of my research. There are others, but these are the few that I am going to address tonight. If some more come up with our discussion, we will address those as well. Now, for some persons, their reason for coping alone is because it is thrust upon them, or their reasons for living alone, is because it is thrust upon them. And when we think about this, we think about, in the case females, for abusive reasons, might be physical, emotional, sexual, abandonment, or you may have been evicted from your home because of some family dispute or some issue that has been going on within your family, or that has arisen in your family. Then you could be living alone because of natural occurrences, and sometimes the natural occurrences are in more than one case. Is because of a loss. So you may have lived with someone before and they died. It may be because of a separation. Someone might have immigrated. You might be an empty nester. You may have even gone to another dwelling place within the country. So, because, as I said, because there is some reason you have to leave that particular home to go somewhere else. Thirdly, a disconnect with your family, friends, and associates. They either left the domicile, the home that you're living in, or you did, or you left. So there's some, as it were, some crossover with some of these reasons that you might be living alone. They're not cut and dry. And it may be by choice. You may have made the decision to live alone. You chose to live alone for whatever reason. You branched off on your own after it became viable for you to do so. You may have gotten a job and employment, and you wanted to be on your own. You felt the need to have the space. You are an independent person. You may have grown up with a large family and felt the need to experience being by yourself, to embrace living in a physical space because you felt crowded. You felt as though you were always, someone was always in your room, or people were always coming into the house, and you never felt as though you could do things and do them by yourself. So there was a choice, and you took that. Now, ladies, what I want to share here is that your stories, my story, we might have some similarities with our stories for living alone, but we have some differences as well. And we are all diverse, as I mentioned at the beginning, even in terms of our perspective of the two pictures, but we are distinctive in how God created us. And we will naturally approach our individual situations differently. And I want to emphasize that. We approach our situations differently because of who you are, because of who I am, because of our personalities, because of our experiences, because of what we have been exposed to. We would approach things differently. Now, hence the ideas and tips that I'm going to share this evening, you can filter and you can determine what you will adopt and how you will implement them in your life. Or you may already have strategies you are using that are proven to be successful that you can share with all of us as well. I'm not going to sit here and say, look, I'm an expert on everything, because there's not everything that I'm aware of, every experience that I have. So I value the experiences of others. I value your experience as well. So let's look at some categories of coping. And we're going to look at the physical, social, the emotional, psychological, and the spiritual. So we take a look first at the physical. And when we take a look at the physical, I'm going to, as I said, I have these in categories. And what you can do to cope with being alone, you can set goals and you can work towards achieving them. Remember, I said at the beginning, when I give you that definition from Friedenberg, that when you are able to cope and you're able to cope effectively, you have goals, you set goals, and you work towards achieving those, even although you are alone. You might have, as I said, you might have your experiences of being alone. There should be something that can help to drive you, to keep you, and to help you during that process or that continuum of being alone. Do what you enjoy. I don't know what you may enjoy. Nikki said this evening that she likes reading. She enjoys her time of being alone so that she can read. Find time to relax. Relax wherever, however you can relax. Now, on mornings, I wake up, and during this COVID time, I have found that I'm doing it more so now than before. On mornings, I would wake up and I would do my devotion. And sometimes I might wake up after 4, after 5, 6 o'clock, depends. And sometimes I would just lay in my bed. I will just draw back my curtain. If I do not want to wake up early, my curtains are pretty heavy. So they block out the light, they block out the sun. But if I want to wake up and get up early, I would just pull the curtains or leave the curtains open at night so that the sunlight hits on me and it wakes me. If I keep the curtains closed, then I'm not going to wake up very early. But as long as I get up, I wake up. I might just step outside on my patio and breathe in the fresh air. And I love the crispness of the air. On mornings, I get up and I walk our dog, our family dog, Khaleesi, and I walk her around the district. And as I walk her around the district, I get my exercise. At the same time, I enjoy the sounds of the animals. I enjoy the sounds of the other birds. I enjoy the sounds of the other dogs. I can hear sheep. I live in the countryside. I can hear the sheep. I can hear the trees in my what I call my yard. I have like some coconut trees and the apple tree and so on. And the wind outside is so windy right now. It is really a pleasure to sit and hear as the wind hit the leaves and the leaves hit each other. The sound and the music that blends with the birds, blend with the dogs and the sheep. It is like a symphony. I tell you, it's just beautiful to hear. And sometimes, as I said, I will walk, but then sometimes I would just lay in my bed or get up and just stand by the window or the patio and just enjoy it. So I find time to relax. You need to be intentional. Love you. embrace you, hug you. And again, this is something that I do. Now, I have been separated for about 4 years now. And one of the things that I have found is that I have grown to embrace myself more. Living alone sometimes you can cause you to appreciate you. It has caused me to appreciate who I am, to get to know more about me, to be able to achieve things that I did not, or I could not achieve before. No, I'm not saying that persons who are married and are together and happy and so on, their spouses would not do the same thing. But tonight we're talking about coping with being alone. So we have to be intentional. And one of the first things we have to do if we want to be intentional, and we are in this alone state, is to love you, get to know you, embrace you. Don't be afraid to hug yourself. And when you hug yourself, you know, somebody's why I imagine who I'm hugging, Jesus. I'm imagining that I'm hugging Jesus. And it feels good to know that he is there physically, that he is there spiritually, and I can know that I'm loved. Okay, let's continue. So the social, help someone else. And there are ways that you can help other persons. Though we are here and we are on pause, you can still help. Now, I am, as Nicole tell you, I am a counselor. I'm a guidance counselor as well. And today I even had to go to my school during the pause, during the lockdown. I have been doing things in terms of distributing items to parents and to students and devices, electronic devices and so on. I had to go to a child's home today to give some things. But help somebody. It feels good to help persons. And there are other ways, and there are so many other experiences that you can do to help other persons. Even if, sorry, you just drink a little water. Even if you're in the supermarket, one of my church members shared just recently at church that she was in the supermarket. She was in the supermarket and she was in a queue. And someone just in front of her took out groceries and did not have enough money. And another female. And she thought about it, and then, you know, she volunteered and she asked if she could pay for the items for the lady. And the lady was very appreciative. She paid for them because the lady had to put them back. She did not have enough money. So that is one way you can help. There are other ways that you can help to do things. And some of those might come out as well, but help somebody. It feels good. And it gives you a sense of having shared and being there for someone else. Have a friend, somebody you can confide in, you can talk to at various times. Make your environment a warm and relaxing one. And what you can do, if you have color cushions, maybe your cushions, your sheeting, your sheets on your bed, your furniture in your house, I don't know if you have a spread or something that you can put over them, but add some color to your life to make your environment one that is relaxing for you as well. And then the other categories that we have, the emotional or psychological and the spiritual, accept that you are alone. Now, this is so very important. This is so very important. We look at different states of being alone and different ways that you can be alone. And unfortunately, some persons are not able to cope because they're alone and they have not accepted the fact that they are alone. They still yearn for someone else, or they still yearn for other people within this space. And if you are alone, it is that you are there, you are by yourself. So accept your state. And when you learn to accept that, then you're going to put some other things in place to be able to manage that state that you're in. Cultivate an awareness of who you are, your strengths, what your weaknesses are as well. Write a journal. Write some story. Write in a journal. Write what you are experiencing, the hurts, the pains, the sorrows, the happiness, the periods that you feel really good. Because when you look back at that journal, then you may be able to use the same experience, the same coping skills that you use, the same strengths that you have identified. You may be able to use that in another situation when you're going to feel down. Because there are periods when you're going to feel good and you're going to feel on a high and happy and joyful. And then there are times you're going to feel a little anxious. You might feel a little sadness. You may feel a little despair. There are times when that will happen. And on the spiritual line, appreciate what you have. Again, Nikki touched on this when she did the opening session. Appreciate, have gratitude for what you have. I had a meeting the other day, just this week, and with some of my colleagues, and that's one of the things that I asked them to do. Look around your space where you are, appreciate what you have, identify these things, touch them, feel them, smell them. If you can lay on them or whatever, okay, lay down, that's what I mean, on them. But appreciate what you have around you. Some of you said you have family, you're grateful and thankful for your family, for the jobs and so on. You do that, appreciate those things. Apply the New Start plan. And there's a plan that we had and we always have. And, sometimes we overlook it, but it's really a powerful plan that we have within our church, and which is usually recommended for us. So we need to do that. Nutrition, eat well, exercise. I was talking to a friend of mine just a few minutes ago. I don't know if she's here on the chat. I'll be able to see that. But she was just telling me that she was just on the point of doing some exercises. Drink plenty water, sunshine. This is what you would have been hearing many times now during this lockdown in terms of coping. So I just try to put them all together. Temperate in everything. Enjoy the fresh air, get your rest, and of course, trust in God. It's important for us to trust in God. Now, be inspired. Be inspired. Now, we have lots of Bible texts in the Bible, lots of texts in the Bible. The Bible is filled with Bible verses, but there are a lot of promises as well. And a lot of the texts in the Bible give inspiration to us. And this is a favorite one of mine. This is one that I would carry with me wherever. So in St. John chapter 14, verse 27. I always tell people, my father has died, but this is one of the texts that my father used to leave with us every Sabbath after worship when we were finished. Some of you used to feel a little annoyed, but I am so happy now that he was there and he always shared this text with us at the end of worship. He would rattle off a whole set of texts, but this one was amongst the texts, and this one is the one that I remembered most. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. So that's John 14:27. And then we have Psalm 68:6. God approves some to be alone. And you can read that text, but God approves some to be alone. There's a reason sometimes in situations which are detrimental to you, harmful to you, that God approves your being by yourself. And then we have Galatians 6:4, that we should not make comparisons with other people. We don't know what people are going through. We don't know what people are experiencing. Sometimes you might look at me and say, oh dear, I wish I was like Pat Welch. Nah, don't ever do that. Appreciate what you have. Look for the positives within your life. Set your goals and work towards those. Don't think your day is here. Embrace it. And I want to finish with these two quotes, two favorite quotes of mine that I share a lot. And this is from Education, chapter 12. Higher than the highest human thoughts can reach is God's ideal for his children. Godliness, godlikeness is the goal to be reached. Before the student, there's open a path of continual progress. He has an object to achieve, a standard to attain that includes everything good and pure and noble. He will advance as fast and as far as possible in every branch of true knowledge. God wants you to reach the heights that are possible with him. And it is possible, ladies. You can do that. God has this progress. Remember that coping is a continual progress. It's continual, as I told you. God says the path that he has prepared for us likewise. In your being alone, he is preparing something for you. There's something ahead for you. And the final one, Marianne Williamson. I saw this on the on Google, but I always thought that it was more associated with someone else. But as I said, the name is there, so we're going to acknowledge Marianne Williamson. But it says our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be, ladies? We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. Sometimes as ladies, we limit ourselves. We feel that we should not do this. We should not achieve this. I know there is a a religion where the ladies are advised they should not accomplish or achieve more than their husbands, that they're supposed to just go thus far and no further. But this statement, this quote is saying to us that we can go as far as we want to. And even the one that we're looking at as Seventh-day Adventists in terms of education, what the servant of God under inspiration has said, that we have a goal to reach that is beyond even our comprehension. So even in being alone, our ladies who live alone, we can achieve these things. And these things are possible. Your goals are possible. So I want to thank you. That's the end of our presentation. And Nikki, I'm going to turn over to you. I'm going to stop the sharing.
Thank you so very much, Pat. That was a good presentation, short and sweet. And I must say, I had some questions and that I had prepared before, and I had asked for some questions. And as you were speaking, I was ticking off to see what would have been answered already in your presentation. So at this point, I want to know if there are any others, whether you are on YouTube or here on the Zoom platform. Do you have any questions that you would like to ask? I have some other ones that I will ask now whilst I am waiting for you to put your questions. Okay, I see one question here already. And this question is, if God approves some to be alone, why is this questioned by the church when we are alone and express to others our loneliness? That's a great. You want me to repeat it?
Yes, repeat it, please.
If God approves some to be alone, why is this questioned by the church when we are alone and express to others our loneliness?
A very good question. I am not quite sure if the church questions it or if it is individuals within our church that questions it, because I have spoken to persons in authority in our church who would work with families or individuals and so on. And it depends on what is happening within the family or what is happening with an individual or individuals, it is usually recommended that if your life is in danger, if you feel unsafe within a family situation, within a relationship, then your life and your safety takes priority. So if it is that it's an abusive, for example, an abusive situation, then the recommendation is for your safety, for your life, for the preservation of your mental health, then it is best for you to take your leave of that situation. But there are persons who would say to you, well, and even as a counselor, I would have to sit with you and hear what is happening in the situation. All right. There's some situations where you can do therapy with the person or the persons who are involved, and you can, try to work out situations where you maybe have a separation for a certain period of time once both parties are being worked with or being counseled, and then you may try to get back together. But generally, if you are if you have made a decision or a choice to be alone for as I said, for yourself, your personal welfare, then whether somebody questions it or not, or somebody in authority tell you that you must not do this, you have to make a decision for yourself. You have to know what is best for you in the situation.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Welch. I hope that has answered your question, the person who asked that question. And then we have another question here. Does being alone mean that you are lonely? Does being alone mean you're lonely?
All right, I expected something like that. You can be lonely. Remember that being alone is restricted to space. You're there, nobody else, no other person or thing is there with you. You can be lonely and still other people are there. There is a distinction. Persons are there. You could be in a crowd. You could be, you see that picture that we showed or wherever, in the city area, and you still feel as though, and maybe an emptiness mentally. You feel as though, I'm the only person in the world. Nobody understands me. Your thought processes, what's happening there, cause you to feel isolated. You could be at a party and that happens. You could be in a relationship with a partner or with a husband, and the person is there, but it's as though, there's no connection. There is no intimacy within that relationship. So it's as though the person is here, but they're still not here. So you're somehow isolated from that person. That is different. So that's what you would call loneliness. But being alone physically means that you are by yourself, whether you're living by yourself or you're in a space by yourself.
Okay.
I hope that is clear.
Well, we will find. I will find out. That was actually from someone who's on YouTube, so we will find out if that was clear. And someone had asked, "Can you have people around you and still be alone?" But I think you made that distinction. Just
feel lonely. Yes, you can have people. You have people with you, but you feel lonely. You're not alone. You're not alone. If there are people there, you can feel lonely. Yeah.
Okay. Elder Clayton, I see you have your hand raised. You can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Hello, good night to everyone.
Hi, Elder Clayton. Good night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, glad to see you, Pat. I haven't seen you for a while.
Hi,
glad to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you made a statement a while ago in terms of the wives should not work for more than their husband or something like that. Is it a profound statement or is it just a suggestion that you put out?
Okay, thank you. Clayton, I was saying that there is an organization, to my knowledge, I could be on the correction, who usually promotes that wives should not work for more than their husbands, should not academically exceed their husbands in terms of their professionalism. That's what we're talking about.
Thank you very much. Because the statement that you just read a while ago from Sister White would have condemned that what you were saying, you know, because you mentioned higher than the highest human thought can reach.
Yeah.
Is God ideal for his children? So if a lady thoughts are higher than the husband, let she go for it.
Of course, of course.
Blessings on you.
God wants all of his children to reach the heights that they can reach.
Yeah.
All women and men, males and females.
Thank you so much.
Love the program.
Thank you, Elder Clayton. Thank you for your question as well. So I have another question that's here. What are your views on being lonely in the church? Being lonely in the church, considering we're supposed to come to church to gather together. But,
yes. And it's different when we're going into lonely, as I said, that is different to being alone. Because in our churches, we're not alone. You understand? Physically, we are there, so we are with people. All right. My views about being lonely and you're in the church because there are people there. First of all, examine self. We have to start there. If I'm feeling that way, I have to start with me. What is it? I know that there have been situations where I was in church and I was going through my own struggles. I had some family struggles and so on. And because of the pain, the emotional pain and the hurt that I was experiencing, to be honest with you, I was in church, but my mind was on what was happening. So it was like this loneliness came over me. I was there and I always pushed myself to be there because even as a mother, I wanted to still, be a mother to my daughters that, this thing is going on in our family, but I still want to hold on to God because I know that God is my strength, but still there was a battle sometimes. And I found that once or twice, a few Sabbaths, I would stay away from church and I would be at home myself, even, and my daughters and so on, we would stay at home and, we would have our own worship and so on. But I have had the experience where I was lonely within the church because I was dealing with what was going on within me and the situation that I was experiencing. I don't know if the person who's asking the question might be viewing it from a different perspective. Maybe they might feel a disconnect in terms of something that is happening with the church that they're not in agreement with. There may be some spiritual disconnect within the membership of the church. I don't know what the person might be thinking, but I will first of all say examine yourself and see what's happening within you, and then you can branch off to see whatever else is impacting this feeling of loneliness once you are within the confines of the church.
Okay, I guess I'll ask that person to give us a better perspective if what you have answered is what they were looking for, if they're looking at it in a different way. But in the meantime, I will take the question from Denise. I see that your hand is raised. So you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, good evening to everybody.
Good evening.
You quoted from Psalm 68 as God approving persons to be alone. In what context would this be? And as it relates to Genesis 2 verse 18, which says that God
it's not good that man should be alone.
Not good man should be alone.
Right. That's good question too. As I stated earlier as well, there are situations that we as Christians who are also human experience. And if it is that, for example, as I stated, If it is that you are in an abusive situation, then it is best for your safety, best for your mental health, for your life, that you take a pause in to the extent that you may have to remove yourself from the environment, the unsafe environment, or you may have to maybe seek some help, some help from some external sources to assist you in the situation that you're in. That's what I mentioned. That is where the approval of being alone is. God says, and this is the ideal, that a man should not be alone. That's the ideal in the Bible. And I will accept the ideal, because marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. God has said that it is honorable to get married, and marriages are good. I support marriages. Marriages are good. That's what God wants for his children, because you see, there is the Godhead, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And there are like as it were, a spiritual family. So our ideal family, or what we call the nuclear family, is usually the husband, the wife, and the children. You will have the extended family where you may have the grandparents and the cousins and so on, and the persons who live within that environment, and they live happy according to Genesis. All right, Genesis chapter 2. But we are not living in an ideal world right now. We are not living in an ideal world. So there's certain times when that ideal will not apply, and where your safety and your health is important. I hope that answers your question.
So how about the person who has never married, but lives alone, and has lived alone for a long time? How then does that person, well, I wouldn't want to use the word cope, because there are some people who cope very well in that situation. But how then, we're not dealing with some person who is in an abusive relationship, because the person is not in a relationship at all. So how then does the two compare in terms of God approving you're lonely and God saying that you're not meant to be alone?
Yeah, but and as I said, everybody's situation is different. And some people will marry and they'll be happy. Some would not marry and they're not happy. But there's some people who are alone and they're happy. So so we can't really, as it were, tie down persons to situations, because everything don't work the same way for persons. Right now, as I said, I shared my experience in terms of my being alone, in terms of not having a husband here with me. And for the past 4 years, it was not easy. Let me tell you, the first year or two was rough, because I was married for like 20-something years and I always had my husband here with me. All right. So after our separation, the first 2 years was, I tell you, I was unsettled. I could not sleep properly for nights, and I love to sleep. Let me tell you, I would sleep during the day and I would sleep during the night, but my nights would be interrupted. Those were the hardest times. Those were the hardest times, let me tell you. I remember one day I was in the university a few years ago when I was still working on my PhD, and I felt such a pain in my chest. Let me tell you, I can't really explain that pain. I don't think I want to explain that pain again, because what happened to us just came flooding, and I felt like it was in a cubicle, but I felt like just screaming, and all I could do is say, Lord, help me, give me the strength to get through this. All right, but there is still a level of pain, but not to that extent. And I have learned to cope, and I am still coping, because as I said, it's a process. And being married for 20-something years and then having a separation and living, as it were, alone without a husband is so different. It takes a lot of adjustments. It takes a lot of adjustment. So as I said, I'm in the fourth year and I'm still adjusted, but I'm getting to know me. I am getting to love me more. And sometimes I just embrace the aloneness. I enjoy, honestly, sometimes I enjoy, more times than not, enjoy the aloneness. So I had to learn to accept that this is a state that I'm in right now. And that's what I said when I made the presentation, I came to that point. If you are in a situation similar to what I am in, where the adjustment has to be made from being married to being alone, you have to accept where you are, and you have to put things in place. Mentally prepare, first of all, let you tell yourself and accept that this is where you are at, and then move on from there. All right. And where I'm not thinking even in terms of what you said, which is very good question, in terms of God wish that we should not be alone. I'm not, as I said, I'm not a minister. I haven't studied the Bible deep to go into more in depth about that. But as I said, it's an ideal situation, but it does not work for everyone. And we have to accept that. And as I said, some people have never had a relationship. They have never had a male in their life, and they're living quite comfortably. And they have persons that they connect to. And that's one of the things I said, we are social beings. So we still need connection. So there is a connection, or there is an intimacy that is outside of sexual that you can have with individuals, and you can have with persons. The persons that I can talk with, Nikki and I have spoken already, and we have had some good talks and so on. The other persons that I talk to, all right, the persons that I discuss certain things with. And there's that intimacy too. It's not a sexual intimacy. All intimacies are not sexual. But as I said, the adjustment and so on is necessary for us when we are alone and we're coping with being alone.
I agree with all that you said, but there is a feeling among some persons who are married that, sometimes you might be a person who's never been married, you might be alone, and you might say, well, okay, I would like to get married. And there's some people who are married that believe, well, why do you want to get married? They ask you that, why do you want? Now they're married, they're happily married, but they want to know why you want to get married. So Mike, following on from that, I would like to find out from you your opinion on what recommendation you will make to a person who has been alone and who is alone and has been alone for a while. And
want to get married, and they want to get married.
Yeah, they're not necessarily get married, but as a Christian, yes, that would be an ideal situation. But they're tired of being alone. And because I'm going to tell you that being alone is not easy, especially if you're living alone, because being alone does not necessarily mean living alone. But if you are living alone, it is not easy because you can get sick. Nobody knows. There's nobody to say, okay, well, I have a pain here or something. Can you just assist me? There's nobody around, right? So what would be your recommendation for a person who is alone, tired of being alone, and would like somebody to bring a glass of water for me, or make me a cup of tea, or something like that? Or what would you recommend to the person who's alone and is tired of it?
If there is somebody you can reach out to, I know we are social beings, and that would happen. I respect what you're saying because it will happen. You will want somebody to be with you. Now, I am fortunate. As I said, I have 2 adult daughters who are here, and I welcome them at times, but I know they have their own spaces. Sometimes we're here, and it's like we're 3 different areas until we come together. Understand? So I can well appreciate, because I need that connection with them. I will need a connection. The person will have to find somebody that they trust. They have to find somebody that they would want to be in their company for that period of time, that they would welcome into their home, and that takes It's going to take time too, because we still have to learn to trust people. And you can't just invite somebody into your home because you might see them and you get maybe attracted them, or you like how they talk, or you have a good conversation. You still have to be cautious in terms of who you would invite into your home. But if it is that the person can develop a friendship, develop a relationship, I'm not talking about a relationship where there is any sexual intimacy, because we still have, as God's people, to know how far we can go, the boundaries that exist. But if there is that, as I said, if there is a friendship that you can create or have with somebody, whether that person is within the confines of your church and or outside the confines of your church. Some people might not like what I am saying, but sometimes you might be in a church with individuals, and based on what you see and what you hear, you get weary. And let me tell you, we are, as females, we are very intuitive, and we don't discard what the spirit, because that intuition is the spirit talking to us. Okay. Pardon?
Quite true.
Yes, we're intuitive. And if the person's within the church and you feel weary about, please do not discard that thinking. There may be people outside of the church. I know some people might not like what I'm saying, that you may trust more. Unfortunately, it should not be so, but it can happen where you trust them more. But at the same time, you are cautious about this. And usually, if you are going to build a friendship with somebody and you want to have somebody around, you just start gradually to bring them into your space. You don't let them come in holistically. So you might invite them maybe to a meal, but you gotta be careful now with the COVID, right? But I think it's clear. You can invite them to a meal, or even before you invite them, you might go somewhere with them, maybe for a drive or something, or to the beach, to a picnic spot or whatever. But you do it gradually. So for maybe a month or a few months or so, you might go out somewhere, you might invite to a meal or whatever. You may come to a point after maybe a few months or a year or whatever, you invite them to spend a night in your home. Now, I'm not thinking so now in terms of females and males. All right, I'm not thinking in terms of females and males, because again, we have to avoid the very appearance of evil. So ladies, if you're single, it is not expected that you invite a male into your house for a night.
Agreed,
all right.
Agreed.
So if it is a female, although some people might say you gotta be careful of females too, but again, as I say, you have to be vigilant and you have to see and so on and observe and be aware of who is around you. So just do things gradually until, if it is that you can eventually ask the person, or maybe a friend's child. It don't have to be an adult. It might be a friend's child, depends on a teenager or whatever that you can have close by, or you might, as it were, adopt into your home or into your life or whatever. But you will have to weigh things and see how they are and see how you can move with that individual. But very good question. Very good.
Thank you very much. That's been very, your explanation and your recommendations and where you put it over has been very, very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Denise. But I have a question that's coming off of your discussion, of the discussion that you just had, because someone had asked, is it safe to let persons know that you are living alone? That's a question. Is it safe to tell strangers that you're living alone?
Of course not. No. You have to know. That's why I say you have to be so careful and cautious. You have to be alert and aware and so on. You don't just meet somebody and tell them that you live alone and whatever. No, don't disclose that information.
So are there any home safety tips then that you would give, in particular, like seniors who live alone?
Well, I heard the police giving some very good information recently in terms of when you're home, that you should have like your windows and so on closed, and your doors. Make sure that your house is safe. Check your doors and so on, even during the night and the daytime. Sometimes even when we're at home here, my community is, I've been living here for 20 years in this area. and we know each other, and the houses are not too far from each other. So sometimes we will have the door open, sometimes we will have the door closed. But they have our dog too, so nobody can really come around our home. So even having an animal around, a dog is around. If you're a dog lover, a dog is a good animal to have in your house. They keep your place safe. They keep you safe. You grow close. My dog is like a family member right now. All right, they come into my bedroom, want to come and lay all over the house and so on, you know. So you can have an animal around, check your place, make sure your locks and so on are safe. If you have the wherewithal to install cameras and so on, you can do that. All right, but and get to know your neighbors well, so that you keep a lookout for your neighbor, and your neighbors keep a lookout for you and your home and so on, and that borders well for your family. I saw somebody say, no, the emergency numbers, have the emergency numbers in your phone. Yes. That's an excellent one. My phone has, listen, I have so many different numbers. Whenever I see a number that I consider to be an emergency number, I put it in my phone. The clinic, the police close by, the COVID unit, some of everything is in this phone. Yeah, so keep those emergency numbers and so on in your phone. That's right. That's an excellent one too as well.
Okay, she was also suggesting that, you can share keys with a family member, a trusted family member, I guess I would say. But I have another interesting question pertaining to being alone, and it probably came off of what Sister Denise was asking as well. Can you miss something that you never had? That's a question. Can you miss something that you never had?
You can yearn for something that you never had. I'm not sure if you can miss it. Depends on the word. You might not miss it, but you might yearn for it. Just as how Sister Denise was talking about, you're being alone for a long time, but you need some companionship and so on around. So you might yearn for it. You won't miss it because you've never had it, but you yearn for it. You want the experience. You want the experience.
Okay. Sister Loretta, you have your hand up. You can unmute and you can ask your question.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I could understand everything that was told, because for me, my husband died 3 years ago. And to be honest with you, sometimes, especially at evenings, I feel very lonely. Like when I have to prepare any breakfast or anything I have to do, this loneliness, and many times I will cry. I will cry and cry. And I want to know sometimes I'm wondering if I'm still grieving. I don't know. And it has been very hurtful. Even like if I have to like talk about it, it has been very hurtful. And sometimes I be so afraid to tell people I'm alone. So what I would do, I would just go and pray. I would just pray and I would just talk to God, because I think the only person I could really trust now is God, because even people in the church, you may go to them and you say something and they put it out of proportion, or, and I'm so afraid to tell people how I'm feeling, because I could remember one time at church, at my husband's funeral, a hymn at shows, and the Sabbath, they sang that song, and I stayed there and I started to cry. And the thing was, I should get over it by now. And that alone, it put me in a state that there's no way anybody would know how I feel. So hearing all of this tonight, I really want to thank you all that I came on, and it gives me a little hope. And yes, there are people that you could trust, but not fully. I don't tell people I live alone, only my neighbors. My neighbors know that I live alone. And yes, dogs are so good, because I have 3 dogs. And even when one of my dogs, she knows when I'm unhappy, she would come and she would cuddle with me and she would come and rub it. And that gives me a sense of comfort to know, even when you could imagine, even dogs know when you're in that state of mind. And, I tell people, my dogs is like my doggy children. They're part of my life. I rather leave myself out to deal with my dogs to protect me. I would know when the postman come. I would know when a stranger is there. My dogs is my life right now. So what I want to know, is it so bad for not letting people know the way I feel and just keeping it within and just talking to God alone and even talking to my dogs? Because sometimes if I'm on the phone with somebody and my dog, and they will say, who are you talking to? Because I don't really talk to my dogs. Like, I call them by names. And when I call them by names, they respond and those things. I want to know if what I'm doing, if it's healthy.
Yes, Sister Loretta, thank you for sharing. And I can identify with what you are saying, some of the things that you are saying, because my experience is also an experience of loss. And what you have shared with us in terms of the death of your husband is an experience of loss. All right, so I can identify with some of what you're saying. And you are coping. You see some of the things that you spoke about, that's how you are coping with your aloneness. Your dogs, talking to your dog, I tell you, my dog is like a member, my family is like my other child. You understand me? Yeah. And I talk, the dog comes, my daughter will walk the dog some mornings or evenings, and from the time she brings the dog in, dog want to come upstairs with me. And when the dog comes upstairs, she comes and she puts herself on me and I have to rub her. You understand? Yeah. And then she wants when you pat her to lay down, she can stay a little while, but then she's gonna look at me, rub her again, and she's gone back upstairs. But talking to your dog, as it were, talking to yourself, that is healthy. You are expressing yourself. Praying to God, that's a way of coping to what you're be saying. That's the way of dealing with it. Listening to music. Sometimes, and I can't help emphasizing this. If you don't trust people, you know that you can't trust them. You understand me? Yes. If there is somebody that you can trust, do so. It is good to express yourself. If it is that you want to write or something like that, you can do that. But people have different ways of coping. You have said you want to know if it is okay, it is healthy. Yes, what you have been doing is healthy. If there is somebody that you want to talk to too, well, go ahead. But if you can't find anybody at this point and to manage it, then what you're doing right now, it seems to be sufficing. But what I'm getting coming from you is that you seem to have the need or the urge to talk with somebody.
Yes. So, but I'm afraid. I'm not looking of a male friend. I'm not along that line. But I'm so even afraid because you want to say things, but you're so afraid. I'm so afraid to express myself to people. So what? Even playing music, sometimes I play my music hard, and I would just gospel and I would dance. Even my neighbors would say, "Oh, I love those hymns," and that is how I express myself, and I would feel good. Another thing that I am doing, I do a lot of planting. I go into the yard and I plant things that I don't eat, but just plant to share to the neighbors.
Right. Right. Very, very good. And so Loretta, what you said, you see another thing, as I said, there are some similarities between you and I, because even myself, I would find, even this evening, I found myself, I was just before I got ready, I found myself listening to some music and I was dancing as well. Now you can see how I dance. My daughters and I will do our dancing. We do our dancing in here in the house. And that's how we cope as well. Today I was telling them, something, we need to dress up sometime now during this weekend. Let's put on our nice some long dresses and so on, and we have some non-alcoholic juices. We're going to get our wine glasses and such like, and let's have it really good for our meal here in the house. Let's do something great and something relaxing and out of maybe the ordinary, because I have a feel to do that. But what you are saying is so right. And the gardening and so on, I do some of that as well. So there are so many ways that we cope. We cope. But as you say, you are fearful. Sometimes you feel the need to talk, but you are afraid to talk. That is natural too. In my early stages of separation, as I said, I could not talk to people. I am more free and open right now. My story involves so much more, but I am not at that point yet within sharing. And then it depends on the forum that I am sharing. So so I can well identify, as I said, with what you are saying. Be assured though that there is professional help out there. If you need to have professional help, there is professional help out there, where what you say to the professional is confidential and it will not be shared with anyone else. So we have Christian counselors, we have Christian psychologists that you can talk to, and you can have sessions with to get, if you so require those services. But your experience is one that there some similarities exist. Thanks, Sister Loretta, for sharing.
Well, thank you so much for your contribution, Sister Loretta. It was very good indeed. And I just have one more question because time is definitely getting away. We had such a very good session, and I saw a comment where it was said that it was a good session and we should have another one. Maybe we can do a part 2 for this one, possibly, and we can ask Pat to come back again and do a part 2. But I have one other question that was given to me, and that question was, is budgeting easier for single persons? So I want to make sure that that person gets their answer. Is budgeting easier for single persons?
Well, it depends. It depends on what you have on your plate, what you have, your finances, and how you are distributing those finances. It depends. Some persons, when they are alone, can manage really well, no matter how much it is. They may have little, but they manage very well. And there's some persons who have a family or who are a couple, and they have the finances. They're separate. The finances are separate. But it's usually recommended that when you are a husband and wife, that your finances come together. But then there's some couples who cannot get that work, no matter what happens, they can't get work. There's some people who are some couples who are able to do it well together and cover their expenses and so on. But what I have found, even with myself, as your salary or whatever increases, you tend to add more expenses because there are other things that you look for. You might want to do some improvements to the house. You might want maybe a better vehicle. You might want to study and so on. So your expenses increase and the budget usually have to expand, and you have to be aware of what you are spending on and make some adjustments. So it depends on how you approach it and what you have as expenses and so on. But whatever you do, when you're budgeting, make sure that you put something aside for your savings. You see how COVID came here, and a lot of people struggled because they did not have something put aside. And let me tell you, it's not easy to put 3 months or 6 months salary away. I know for us, we're not rich people. It's not easy to put I struggled for years to get that done. It's not easy. What I can tell you though, when you are budgeting, and some people sometimes do not put a physical budget in terms of putting out like what they have to put for their utilities and food and so on. Some people don't. Some people can mentally put those figures in their head and have their budget within their head rather than putting it down. There's some people who are really good at that. But what I'm saying is that always put something down. I remember there was a colleague of mine who told me, after I encouraged her to join the credit union, And let me put a plug here that we have the Seventh-day Adventist Credit Union, which is operating and which works excellently. I have been a member and have been on the board of our credit union, our Seventh-day Adventist Credit Union, which is not governed by the conference. It is governed by a board, not the conference, and it is working and is blessed. God has really been working with us. All right.
Yes, we've actually had a session on TNT. We had a TNT session where we actually someone was there from the credit union.
Yes, my credit union has helped me tremendously in helping me to achieve many of the things that I have over the years. That is our credit union members. All right, so I'm saying that we need to do a seminar. And I had a friend who worked with me, and I encouraged her to join. She joined, and then at one point she was saying, "Pat, I don't have the money to put in the credit." You tell her, no. You have to put down, even if it is $20 a month. You have to put down, even if it's $25 a month. And today, this lady tells me, look, if not for you, I would not be in the state where I am now. That I'm happy that you told me and I did what you recommended. Put down something. If it's a $10, if it's a $5, brethren, put aside something, because you don't know what you're going to face with in the future. Yeah, but budgeting in whatever form you want to put it, you need to do that. Single or family.
Okay, thank you so very much, Pat. I just want to make mention of some of the comments that we did have. So we did have, someone has said, it is far worse to be lonely in a crowd than it is to be lonely while being alone. And yes, the question had been answered from our YouTube question. And she also said, people believe that when you are alone, that you are lonely. You can be alone and filled with life and vigor. So that's what she was saying. Then we had another comment. It's far worse to be lonely in a crowd, because when you're alone, you don't expect people to be around. But when you're in a crowd, seeing others enjoying themselves and all of that can make you more aware of your loneliness. I don't know if you wanted to speak to that quickly. Sorry.
It can be the perception. Yes, that's a valuable thought that you can think about, because yes, generally, if you are with others and you're in the company of others, you would tend to think that, look, this should be a good moment for me. This should be a relaxing moment. We should all be benefit, and I should be able to benefit from what is happening within the crowd. My mind should be focused on that individual. It should be getting some, there should be an interaction where there's a back and forth. But if you are in a crowd and it's like you're there and we're not really having a conversation, or nothing is really being exchanged, that it really is not of no value to you. So you will feel a sense of loss. I could have been home. I maybe would have get more out of standing home and lay down reading a book, Nicole. Right? Yeah, that can happen.
All right. Okay, so we have Dr. Jack. Dr. Jack was one of the persons who was asking some of the questions, and one of them where her response was, she says that it is my contention that one can feel alone in the home and within the church. I agree with some of the information that was presented on the area. However, there's no need for the person to reflect on themselves at times, because this happens in the church and the home, being alone, that is. So a more deeper reflection is needed on God to get out of this concept on being alone.
Oh, that's okay. Yes. When I think and I promote you as an individual, analyzing where you are and trying to, as it were, mentally figure out where you are at. God is the one who you always invite to help you to get some clarity to what is happening with you, to help you to get some peace, and even to help you in this state of aloneness that you are experiencing, as I say, because my focus as a Christian and Christian counselor, as a counselor in itself, is that God is the author and the finisher of my faith. All right. Who I am, even in terms of what you did as the introduction, as I told you, is that who I am, what I have achieved, where I am, is because of God. And I give God all glory and all honor. So when I am reflecting, when I'm analyzing, when you as an individual are reflecting and you're analyzing, you do so with the guidance of the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jack.
And I think on that note, we can also end on that note. I want to thank you so very much, Pat, for accepting and for ably conducting this session. It was indeed a wealth of knowledge. And I know that many persons would have gotten a lot of answers to some questions that they may have had in their minds, even if they did not voice them. Yes, I have seen repeatedly more than one person who say we should have a part 2. So it is something we probably will consider in the near future. We do have another session that will be coming up on TNT, but that will be in April. So you can look out for that. And that one, we're going to be looking at mental health. And we're going to be looking at mental health and its effects as well. We're menopause and its effects and mental health as well. So those are some of the topics that will be coming up. So we probably will, again, add in coping with living alone and probably add another aspect of it. So for our special edition of TNT. So I want to thank all of you who were here. Thank you so much for your contributions, all of you who contributed your questions, whether it was in the chat on YouTube, and also right here, Sister Loretta, Elder Clayton, and also Sister Denise. Thank you so very much for your contributions. And now, before we go, I want to invite Sister Glendine Walks to give us our closing prayer.
Ladies, you did a good job. The session was good.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for your many blessings. We thank you for the information that persons can cope with living alone, that they will have the encouragement of others. They can always come to you, because you are a God who always see the interest and know what we want, and you know us by name and nature. So we ask you, Lord, to continue to bless those who are living alone, give them the peace of mind that they need, give them the good friends that they can have good company, but most of all, let them recognize that they may live alone, but they are never alone. You are always, always there. When we feel lonely, you're only a prayer away. We can always call upon you. So give us and whoever may need the strength to cope with these things. We ask you to continue to bless us, continue to give us a good night rest as we go in our beds, continue to reflect. May we continue to reflect on your goodness towards us. And Lord, may you keep us safe. And what I fail to ask, Lord, of my awareness, fail not to grant these things unto us. But hear and answer our prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you again so very much. I don't know if you want to take a little time to say hello to one another. Just give you a few moments. And
hello, Glendine. Alexander.
Hello.
Hi, Glendine. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm great, thank you.
Right.
Good to see you.
Haven't seen you in a while.
See you. Yes, it's true.
For a long time, right?
All right.
It's true.
Hello, ladies.
Wait, this is who? I hear the voice that sounds like.
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes, ladies, how are you doing?
We're doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm in New York, though. That's why.
Okay.
So why don't you reveal yourself? Thanks, Margaret. Thanks for being here. This is one of my colleagues on the counselors.
I came okay. My name is Wayne.
Okay, no problem.
I used to go to the Bel Air Church, but now I'm residing in New York.
Okay. You said your name is who?
Wayne.
Oh, Wayne. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
But every week I sign on to, the church is down there.
Okay.
Right.
Church you're worshiping at?
Amazing Grace in New York.
Okay.
I'm a part of the conference office up here because I work with the ushers department.
Oh, okay. All right. So y'all are still in lockdown, or you are able to go to church?
No, the church is still locked down.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, keep safe down there. Keep safe.
All right, dear. You too. Keep safe on that end.
All right.
Hi, Pat.
Yeah, looking forward to see when if everything worked out.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Pat.
Yes, Brenda. That's Brenda, right?
Yes, please.
Brenda, I would like to see you, please.
I'm not dressed. I
don't mind. I haven't seen you in so many years. I haven't seen you in so many years. Show me the face. I don't need to see the body. The rest of the body wants to see the face.
If I was dressed properly, I'll show you my face. So the next time
I just want to see the face, Brenda.
We'll do WhatsApp. We'll do WhatsApp tomorrow. I'm sending you my number. We'll do WhatsApp tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Send it.
Hey, Pat, nice of you, Pat.
All right. Who's this?
I just sent you my number.
Nice of you, Pat. You know the voice?
The voice sounds like who? Stevenson?
So,
Hey, Stevenson?
yeah, man. So you got
okay. Because I know the voice on Stevenson. All right, Stevenson, it's good to have you on the ladies' chat talk night.
Yeah, he's sneaking.
You sneaking? See, hear that? Hear that, Nikki?
Yes, I heard.
Yeah.
Thank you for sneaking in.
Huh?
No, I told him thank you for sneaking in.
Yes.
Hey, everybody, I trust that you will have a good night. We will end with
Brenda's number is here. Okay, so Brenda, we can chat on
Yes.
WhatsApp.
I said
All
the
right,
number.
You take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, Nikki.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Created for a mission, I was brought to this world to preach to every kindred of His mercy and love. In every kindness I show, in everything that I do, I've been chosen by my God to testify. A woman of God, I'm His masterpiece, chosen, loved, and redeemed by His love. A new life I was given to serve. I accept your call. Here I am, my Lord. Wherever I go, I will tell, and forever will I shout and sing. Lord, I will go. Preaching about His redemptive love, sharing God's love and mercy, forgiveness and joy. not be afraid. God is walking by my side. I will go forward with his light. The ending is near. Our man of God, I'm his masterpiece. Chosen, love, and redeemed by his love. A new life I was given to serve. I accept your call.